So, all right. So, I'll be talking about what we'll do is in this lab. So, I hope everyone has just deployed the labs and configured BGP and EVPN, VXLAN, and verified that. Now, with the interest of the time, streaming telemetry configurations is already done. I'm going to explain how we have done under the hood, right? Here in this multi-vendor lab, we have Nokia SR Linux has Leaf and Spines, and we have Arista EOS and Sonic Node as Leaf on rack 2 and rack 3. In this lab, what I have used here is GNMIC as GNMI metric collector, right? So what it does is it basically collects the metrics from each and every router, and then it sends out to a time series database, right? So here I'm using Prometheus. Of course, we can use any other time series database. And finally, a Grafana to build some nice and cool dashboards, right? So the idea and the purpose is to achieve the observability of the labs here, right? So of course, I mean, look at this lab, look at this, right? We have so many nodes. You can't log into each and every node and get statistics from every port, right? So that's the reason we wanted to have one-stop shop, single pane of glass. We want to see all my statistics in the same page. Having said that, GNMI was originally developed again by Nokia, and it was donated to Open Config Foundation. Now it's maintained by Open Config Foundation. It's free and open source, free to download, where it can do a lot of cool things. You can actually use that to call or get the capabilities of a box, where you can inquire about what are all the Yang models it is supporting, what is the version of GNMI it's using. So anybody knows what is GNMI? GNMI, gRPC. Okay, let me just give you a little bit background on that, right? So GNMI, the full form is gRPC Network Management Interface. It's a ultra-modern, low latency, high performance management interface, right? So which is on the network devices, right? So the encoding the format it uses is protobuf, right? So we all know about XML or JSON, right? But here we use protobuf, which is much more efficient. It does a lot of serialization and deserialization, and it's efficient when it transmits the data from the router to your collector, right? Because when you're going for data centers, you of course every small overhead matters a lot, right? So it is very compact and highly efficient when it comes to the bandwidth. So GNMI uses a gRPC based for protobuf. Again, it uses HTTP version 2 to transport the metrics to your client. So not only just gives you the capabilities of the box, you can also collect information. You can query on any Yang paths on the routers. If you wanted to, hey, what's the status of this interface? You can give open config or the native vendor's config. Also, you can push configurations. We all know how we used to do in SNMP. We used to go OID, MEBs, you know. So, but here it's quite easy. It's like a key value pair. You call the key, which is your path, and you send the value for that path, and it gets configured there. And subscribe, right? So in subscribe, where you can actually subscribe to a particular paths, right? And the box will start streaming the metrics. For example, port, right? How is my statistics, right? So it keeps sending the metrics to the collector. That's what GNMIC does that. So we have wrapped that in a container, and again, feel free to download and you can use in your labs. So this is just an example from today's lab. Again, all the labs which is with you guys is pre-installed with a GNMIC tool. All you need is GNMIC address, right? Dash, it's a small form add, and you can use the name or IP address and colon port number, right? Every vendor uses different port number for GNMI, right? So Nokia SRL uses 57400 and Arista uses 6080, Sonic uses 8080, so it depends on what vendor. and username and password, and depends on the transport. Like if you want to do a secure, you can use actually push certificate, so that while you're collecting the information through a remote location, the metrics can be securely collected. Then capabilities. If you see here in the capabilities, right, it will tell you what is the version, what are all the supported models on that box. This is quite handy if you want to say, hey, do you support OpenConfig? Do you support this BGP? You can actually quickly come and check here. In the next one, get, right? So here it is, right? So let's say if I want to know the configurations or what is the configured items on this path, state, port, and I want to know the information of that specific 1/1/C1 port. So what I'm using instead of capabilities, I'm using get and path, right? So if you see it is telling, hey, the port is down and what is the laser, in all the state information can be easily used. One thing you can see here is every item is nicely, right, structured. Key, which is, for example, values, and the answer is in a pair, right? So it's value. So especially when you are doing machine-to-machine automation, or when you have a pipelines, right? You don't have to go to SNMP or where you have to stream or screen scrape, right? Here you give exact value, you can get the exact value of the path, and you will get the value for that YANG path. Likewise, subscribe. So for example, now instead of get, I do sub, and I give the path. I want to collect the statistics of the CPU, and I'm telling stream mode sample, because I need to sample for every 10-second interval. So it's telling me, hey, total instant is 4, and average for 1, average for 5. So the router keeps sending it. Once the router sends that, hey, this is my subscriptions, the router will keep pushing those informations to the collector. So quick configurations, right? It's pretty simple. It's all YAML based again. So here is what we can mention all our subscriptions. You can have multiple subscriptions. Say I want to have BGP port or OSPF. You can actually differentiate, and you can create categories. And once you have create a category, sub1 and Arista, for example, what I have done here, and then you can associate with the targets. In targets, you can have n number of the routers, right? So I have here SR Linux, and I have I'm calling under the subscription sub1. So what it does, GNMIC, is it will connect to all the subscriptions path for this SR Linux. Likewise, it will do for the other vendor, other node Arista, right? So it gives you a nice way where you can actually structure different paths, and whichever is being used, you can actually call that. So again, GNMIC Prometheus is for time series. There are other time series database, not just Prometheus. You can use Influx, or if you're already using any other time series database, you can use that. And again, for dashboarding, for this purpose, we have Grafana. Again, if anybody has any other choice like Chrono or Kibana, you can definitely use that and build some nice dashboards. Let me quickly show, again, all the labs are pre-deployed with that. So all you need to do is you have to go to this vmlearn.nokia.com:3000. So let me log in. As soon as you log in, the username and password is admin, right? It will, since it's all newly deployed, it will ask you to change. You can just skip it. There is a skip button. Once you do that, there is a small hamburger symbol here in the top left, and then you click dashboards, and there will be a general and data center overview, right? Again, feel free, you can actually create your new dashboards by going to the new. We have created already one, right? So you can click this dashboards. So this is the dashboard. This is actually live streaming from your lab, right? I took one of the VMs and I deployed it, right? On the top, you can see this is the total traffic from the rack 1. This is the total traffic from the rack 2. This is a topology view. If you see these nodes 1, 2, right? So they're all actually green, means they are operationally up, right? And also you can see the bandwidth it's showing, right? So they're all changing as per the traffic is flowing, right? Actually, you can log into one of the nodes and shut down one of the ports, and it should start reflecting actually, right? So fetch leaf 1. Let me just try bold move. I'm just disabling one of the interface. What happens is once I disable one of the ports, right? So since every 10 seconds, the GNMIC collector will receive the metrics from the box, and it should start reflecting here, right? So every 10 seconds it will go, and once it does, and it will show you the updated dashboards up in here. There you go, right? It turned red, right? As soon as I did, it not only just did on the local, I turned down the port on the leaf one, it actually went, and the far end is also operationally, of course, down, right? It's pretty quick, easy, robust, and actually you can use this and you can go and modify here, right? So we have opened it all. Also, like for example, you can actually see who is having the highest number of the BGP peers and who are the traffic from which interface of which node it's going. And actually, this is the port status, right? So from the track 1, right, you can go and use a drop down. You can select from rack 1, rack 2, and rack 3. And it's showing you what's the CPU utilization for that node, and in a time series, in a gate series. Also, it is packet counts and what is the packet for the Arista. Also, purposely have not done for Sonic because once you run that script which is given on your notes, it will start pulling the information from the Sonic device also. I've kept some activity for you guys. All right, any questions? Exactly, yes. Exactly. So here, right, so it's a one-stop shop, single pane of the glass. So on this dashboard itself, it's not only giving the port status, it is actually collecting the how much traffic live happening on each and every link, and it is showing whether if it's rack 1 of Nokia SR Linux or Arista or Sonic. So you have this on the same dashboard here. Sure. Yes. So here, for example, so since everybody has that access to the Git hub, right? So there is a folder called configs, right? If you expand on that, right? So we have nicely organized different folders and configurations for each one of them nodes. There is something called gnmic. If you expand that, and there is called something called gnmic-config.yaml, right? So as soon as you open this one, right? So here, in the top, for example, I have created something called SRL subscriptions, and all the subscriptions we have mentioned under this category. What port to connect, whether you have to skip verify the certificates, and insecure channel, what is the password for the each nodes to connect. Likewise, again, we have targets, leaf 1, 2, and spine 1 and 2. And for the next Arista, we have leaf 3, what is the username and password, and subscriptions, right? If you go under the subscriptions, these are all the subscriptions which we are collecting, right? For example, for the system performance, for example, for CPU and memory, and for Ethernet operational state statistics and traffic rate, and for unicast, IPv4 and IPv6, right? Again, these Yang paths again are open source. We publish there on GitHub sites. You just Google Nokia Yang models. You can take the Yang models and you can use it. All right. Are we all streaming? Is my message streaming? You guys able to open dashboards? VM colon 3000, admin, skip, and then hamburger symbol, then you'll have a dashboard. You can actually pass some traffic and you can see actually the colors have been shut down some ports, and actually you can go to the edit and see which query I'm making in, and you can actually change it, use it as per you want. So I'll talk about one more topic, which is I feel cool when it comes to the troubleshooting. We all use packet captures, right? Wiresharks, right? Um, with this one, we used an open source project, right? So called EdgeShark, right? So which will kind of visualizes how the nodes are connected, and it helps you even to stream the packets to your Wireshark, right? It's quite handy. I love this tool. So let me show you. So instructions is given in there how to install that. It's not installed, by the way. You have to install that. There is a command which we have given. So 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 it is the same. So once you have installed it, same vm.com colon 5001, right? So when you open this one, you will have something like a blank screen. It is EdgeShark. It's an again open source. So once you refresh it, right, so it will go and discover all the containers on this node, right? So this is an very cool stuff, right? For example, it connects to, it discovers all the bridges, and it says where is this point-to-point link connected, right? Just consider this like going to a data center where you'll connect two wires from one switch to another switch, right? You have to trace it down, right? This is what exactly it is doing here in virtually, right? For example, if you scroll down, it is going and detecting and every process on that VM labs which you are using. So for example, the one which is highlighted are the containers. Client 1, 2, 3, and see if you have, if you go each, it has two network ports. Let's say if I want to see, hey, where is this Ethernet 0 connected to? If I just go, it will highlight that and it will give you kind of animated, hey, where it is connected. You can actually follow that path actually. Then, come on, yeah. So it is actually going to a management port of that bridge. It will kind of take you where it is, right? Not only just that one, actually, it will give you, if you have sub interfaces, VLAN interfaces, it will give you a subdivided line. It's easy to trace, nice way to trace down actually, right? So for example, on this, let's say if I go to leaf 3, right? For example, all these Ethernet 0, 1, 2, it is telling us where these links are connected, and you can follow that path. Also, this one itself, for example, let's say if I go to my client 1, there is small little icon of a shark where if you click this one, right, so it will actually stream, the packets from that node, and it can stream it to your local laptop, right? So I don't think I have any traffic. Let me just quit. So I'm just sending some packets to see if I can capture some packets. It will fail because I've not fully configured. The control plane is not yet there. So what I'll do is I will have my Wireshark, right? So all these Wireshark packets is being streamed. You see all these ICMP packets. Once I click that, right? Sorry, not from here. So if I want to have this one, it is going and being streamed to my local laptop's Wireshark here. Nice. Tells you to troubleshoot, like, I mean, you don't have to go in TCP dump. So from the same screen, you click that, you can take the packets and save and inspect VXLAN or any packets you want, right? So then you can click and expand and see what kind of packet it is sending, right? So of course, I'm just sending empty packets of ICMP, so you can see that. Yeah.
Talk about multi-CLI as well. Yeah. Yeah. So one thing we wanted to talk about in the end of the on the GitHub page, there's an activity all the way at the end that shows different commands like show IP BGP summary, the commands that you typically use for other vendors. So we have a plugin in our OS. It's SR Linux. That's Nokia's data center OS. And we have added a plugin where you can actually emulate, not emulate, where you could put in the command from, let's say, Arista or Cisco, and it will then call the path and display in the typical format of that particular vendor. So it doesn't even display the output in SRL format. It will display the output in, let's say, Arista format. So if you go in to Leaf1, log into the device and do a show IP BGP summary, that's a Arista command, and you'll see a display in the Arista format. So that's a plugin. We have opened it up. It's called multi-CLI. So that's applicable to Nokia's SR Linux. So this sort of eases the transition. That was the intention, and you can certainly do it the other way as well. So it's open. You can add to it. You can tweak it. It's completely available to you. So it's a Nokia multi-CLI. And this GitHub, yes, the lab will close by 6 p.m., I believe. So you won't have access to the VM instances that you may be using. But the GitHub repository is completely open. You can clone and do it at your own, at your disposal. Do it and deploy as you see fit, and then tweak it and share it. That's the power of GitHub and also ContainerLab. You're able to easily both deploy, share, collaborate. There are numerous other labs that we've already built and made available. So that are more focused on not multi-vendor. This session was specifically focused on a multi-vendor lab. So meaning SR Linux, Nokia, and from Nokia, and then CEOS from Arista, and then Sonic. There are a number of other available labs that you can utilize that are more focused on SR Linux specifically. So the telemetry segment routing, which is based on SROS with the combination of SR Linux as well. So if you go to containerlab.dev or learn srlinux.dev, there are various websites that you can go to clone different repositories of these labs, and much like you have spun up this particular lab, you can spin up other labs as well. And it's a very huge community, and we're on Discord. So if you join the Discord channel, you will be able to interact with the developers themselves. So all of us are there, so you can interact with us, pose questions. There is a Kubernetes, which is more focused, and not focused, but it's I would say it's less resource intensive, so that if you have, let's say, if you're using a laptop, it's certainly more viable if you're utilizing Kubernetes. And there are more details related to Kubernetes as well, if you want to use that instead of ContainerLab. So with that, are there any questions related to the lab or related to ContainerLab? This entire deck will be available to you. And the command structure of ContainerLab, when you go, so there are few commands that you'd utilize very routinely, such as ContainerLab deploy, ContainerLab destroy, ContainerLab inspect. These are typically the commands that you would utilize, but there's a help menu as well that you can check out. And then on containerlab.dev, there's a whole user manual for that you can utilize to check what else is available. One command I really like is the ability to save all the configuration files, so that's important. And if you were to destroy and you didn't want anything saved, you could do a cleanup. So ContainerLab destroy topology file and then cleanup -- cleanup. So all of these different commands available in the user manual. So definitely utilize that. So any questions from? Did you guys find this useful? Okay. Great. Thank you.